Here we go. NieR Automata is what I'm doing. That's all I'm doing, really. NieR.
The following podcast will contain minor
Some spoilers for
I
NieR.
think.
I haven't finished it. Skippy's finished it. I'm on I'm about halfway through the second playthrough. That's about where I'm at.
Yeah.
So using that as a reference point, I guess, I don't know. It's been a while since it's come out, and I think people who care about it have probably played it, but I still don't want to spoil shit for people who... Right, yeah. So we'll keep it general.
I want to convert people. I want people to play this game, and I don't want to spoil it for them, but maybe spoil just enough for them to be like, oh, there's more to this game than pretty girls in combat.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about it. We'll try to avoid major spoilers, but we got to talk about it.
Yeah.
You know? We got to talk about how amazing it is, because it's my favorite game since The Witcher 3. And at one point I was saying it could even pass Witcher 3, but as time goes on, I don't think you can do that. That's not, come on, let's be fair. But holy shit.
Yeah, so you didn't play the first game. I didn't finish it. I didn't have the fucking patience. Yeah, I watched a recap too. I watched a few recaps because physically playing that game is not fun. It is really not a good video game. And that was the biggest improvement immediately noticeable in NieR Automata. It's a good video game. It's not just a good story wrapped up in some like shitty taped together RPG mechanics. It's like a real platinum game with a fantastic story. I mean, where do you start? What's the hook? Why don't you sell me NieR? I'm a grandma in a GameStop, and you're trying to get me to put down the Sudoku puzzle and pick up a copy of NieR Automata for my PS4 Pro that I'm also going to buy.
Someone in the chat said the open world just sucks my motivation to play, and I will address that. But let me sell it.
It's hard. It's harder to describe than to sell.
I mean, what I want to do is say okay, let's take just the gameplay itself. You're a grandma who's probably played Metal Gear Rising or some platinum title. And
that's what we do.
It has the platinum fun combat. Not really. I guess not a difficult game. I played on normal, and it's not difficult. It's fun. It's not even. I wouldn't even really It's not even much of a challenge, really. But it's just consistently fun, and you want to do things perfectly, even though you don't have to. Like, you don't want to get hit by the enemy because zooming around is so much fun. And the basic level of the combat, the basic hook of the combat is the dodging system, where you dodge. You have a pretty big window to dodge, and then you can do a counterattack, and you can kind of just link those up together. And there's just something really viscerally satisfying about pulling off those dodges over and over and over, and just fucking up the enemy.
What you said about not wanting to get hit, that I noticed that too. It honestly is a pretty easy game on normal, I think. You really aren't going to die. Unless you're really screwing up.
I died a couple times, but not past the first few hours of play.
Right, but even on that difficulty, the flow of the combat, like dodging, converting that into a crazy flippy-dippy combo where you juggle somebody up in the air and slam them back down, and it's the flow of that gets interrupted when you get hit, so you still feel engaged in the combat, even when it's not actually going to kill you most of the time.
Yeah.
I started on hard mode because that's what I played the demo on and had no problem. But when I saw the how the save, Skippy got kicked out of the mumble for some reason, so I'll drag him back in when he comes in. But I didn't realize that there was no checkpoints at all within a mission. Or I guess I kind of did. It tells you that there's no auto saving, but on hard, I got halfway through the demo bit, the very opening part, I died, and I'm like, oh shit, I have to do the shmup section at the beginning again. And the second time having to repeat that part, I was like, I'm just gonna turn it to normal. The rest of the game is a lot more forgiving though, checkpoint wise. It's really that first stretch is a nightmare if you have to repeat it. But hard mode could be a legit challenge.
Is my sound coming through okay?
Yeah, you're a little choppy, but I can hear you.
Mumble's being laggy. Skype is fine.
All right, I'll just use Skype. I'll flip your audio over to Skype.
Yeah. Let's flip over to Skype.
Cool.
I disconnected for like 15 seconds there.
Got it. All right, we got you.
All right. The recording's fucked, so fuck the recording. Okay. Yeah. So it is easy. You want to do it perfectly. And I think there's like a section of the game, I would say, from the beginning to maybe halfway through, maybe a little less than halfway, where the whole time I was thinking, well, this combat's fine, but it feels like I'm just doing it because I have to do it. It didn't like engage me or anything. But then at some point, like it kind of clicked with me, just like it didn't get any harder or easier. I just kind of started enjoying it more about halfway through the game, and maybe it's because you unlock a few more interesting abilities and stuff like that. But really, I think it was just like it clicked in my head of like, now I know exactly how to dodge and everything, and keep track of what's going on the screen, because everything going on the screen is extremely complex and muddled and kind of hard. Like at the beginning, I was having a lot of trouble figuring out when are the enemies attacking and stuff. And there's just a satisfaction that comes with learning that, I think. But I would say the combat is absolutely not the gameplay. I would say is not the focus. It's not what really could sell someone on this game. It's good, but it's serviceable to what the magic of the game is, which is the plot.
Yeah.
Period. The plot. The style of it also, which includes like the soundtrack and the art design and everything. But I guess I just didn't expect so much plot. I just kind of thought it was going to be a fun, because like Metal Gear Rising comes off of a franchise that is pretty plot driven, to say the least. And it doesn't, I mean, the plot is serviceable to the gameplay in Metal Gear Rising, but it's the other way around here. It's like the gameplay is just in service to this amazing story that is one of the best stories, maybe the best, just like overall story that I've played in a game. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and like the same story quality is there in the first NieR. It just doesn't even have serviceable gameplay. It's just like a great story propped up on like matchsticks and
people have been trying to kind of sell me on NieR, but like it's hard. I couldn't finish.
But you'll probably like it if you're already sold on the style and the music. You'll probably like it. You may not finish it because it is arduous.
I don't think I would finish it because like Persona 3, I love Persona 3, and I fell off of it at some point. I just kind of stopped playing, and I haven't picked it back up. And I've thought about it because I'm definitely getting Persona 5, and it's coming out very soon. But I even though I love the game, I can't keep playing it because it's just kind of a tedious game to play. So I'm afraid that would happen with NieR too. And I'm like genuinely afraid to not like it because I love Automata so much. But yeah, if you're halfway through, I think you're at about the halfway mark of the game probably. And I would say the halfway mark, there is like a very distinct first half, second half of this game where there's a tonal shift and shit just goes places.
I can't wait.
And I'm not going to spoil any of that because it is incredible and it's full of just surprises. Little twists, not even necessarily just plot twists, but little things where you're just like, oh, I didn't expect the game to do this. And I'm not even going to really talk about that, but it has just a phenomenal...
The only thing I know is that there's 5 primary endings.
Yeah, there's 5 endings, but I will spoil the concept of the endings because I think it's misleading to say that there's 5 endings because really I think there are 3 playthroughs with 3 endings, and 2 extra endings, or like I'm not gonna spoil the nature of the extra endings,
Yeah,
but there's
don't.
not 2 additional playthroughs. There's not 5 playthroughs. There are 3,
Okay.
I would say, acts in the game.
Okay.
And the last half of the second and the third act are something else.
It's already doing what NieR 1 did, which is show you the events of the first playthrough from a different perspective with more information, and it just makes it changes the deal. Just those little bits. How much? I don't want to go into it.
When I finished the game, I finished the first act of the game with it, and it ends and credits roll, and it reveals a subtitle, which I thought was really neat.
Yeah, a message from Square Enix PR.
And I was like, okay, that was cool, but obviously there's a lot more to this, because you meet a bunch of characters and stuff that go nowhere, that absolutely are completely unexplored, but they're obviously characters that there's more to explore. And so I was like, okay, I knew that there were 5 endings, but I didn't know the nature of the game. And so I was like, okay, I guess I have to play through it again to get more endings, and I guess maybe they'll change something. And right away, you start the second playthrough, and you're like, oh, okay, there's way more to this game than just playing it over and over. You're not just playing it over and over. It is a completely different thing, especially the third playthrough, but I won't say anything.
I ain't there yet. But one thing I'm willing to say about a second playthrough is, for example, you'll fight a boss on your first playthrough, you'll beat him, and then it's kind of over. The second playthrough, when you beat him, there's like a short little additional cutscene, and it just tells you a little more about the backstory of that boss that you just killed. And it really works. Every little inner cut in this second playthrough, it just fleshes out stuff that was glossed over in the first and gives it new context, and you're more willing to go along with it because you already care. The flashiness of like Adam and Eve, those characters, that hooks you immediately. So if you see more of them in a second, it's not like slapping on too much exposition like it could have read if it was in the first. So
and it kind of acknowledges like, okay, you've done this before, and and I don't think it doesn't really go out of its way to say like, oh, okay, like you unlock fast travel pretty soon in the game, depending on how you play it. It was actually several hours in for me because I was playing it very slowly and doing a lot of exploration, but it doesn't open up that fast travel right away in the second playthrough, which I was surprised. I was like, well, why not just let me do fast travel? But then I realized when you're not exploring every nook and cranny, that game flies by.
Oh yeah,
the second playthrough is so much faster than the first because you're not exploring, you're not doing all the side stuff. The second playthrough, any side quests that you didn't complete in the first appear in the second, and the ones that you completed don't appear at all. And that's a great way to do it. And
and I'm glad they did it that way because I kind of played it the opposite way that you did. I did very few side quests on my first run, and part of that was because I was kind of trying to save them until I was getting to the end game-ish area, and then do a lot, and then finish off a first playthrough. But there's a part where it doesn't feel like it should be coming up on the end, and then you just get sent down a fucking roller coaster straight to the credits. It's so like it's so cool.
And that's part of what makes it so great is like when a main story beat happens, it like
it takes
it really
you off guard.
Moves shit forward.
Yeah,
it moves shit forward, and you're like, oh shit, like this is a completely like I've moved in this thing. Wow, I cannot say anything but good things about it. The music, I love the music so much. I love the theme park.
Oh yeah,
and Pascal's Village, and the
music is it's like as important to the game as anything else.
Yeah. And I would say if someone's on the fence about buying this and they're like, well, I don't know, the story sounds kind of interesting, but I just don't really know what to expect and I want to wait for it to be on sale, I would say look up on YouTube. I think it's like the first or second boss, but look up This Will Not Continue.
This cannot
on YouTube
continue.
And just watch the gameplay. Like there's probably a 10-minute segment of gameplay there and cutscenes where you will get It is that is the tone of NieR Automata. Like that is the game right there. Like I think that's the perfect encapsulation of what that game is and what it has to offer.
For sure. And that I showed that clip to somebody. It sold them on the game.
I think that will sell. Like that is the commercial for the game. Is like a 10-minute segment. This will not continue. That boss is like, okay, this is what NieR Automata is and has to offer. And that's when the game that's what you play the game and really up until that point, to me the game was not underwhelming, but just kind of like, okay, this is fine, but like nothing crazy has happened or anything like that. You could tell that there was like this undercurrent of like, well, something's definitely gonna open up here. Like the demo area, the area that was in the demo and that is kind of serves as the tutorial is really neat and has this really satisfying ending to it with the boss and everything. But it doesn't get to what like that plot really has to offer. And holy shit, it's just that boss fight, the music, the culmination of plot and it just really shows you like, holy shit, I need to see the rest of this. It kicks you into it is the kickstart to that game. And
definitely and that is one of my favorite parts about the game is the way it's paced. It moves a lot quicker than I thought it would. If you're doing main quests and just kind of listening to where you're being told to go, you'll be moving from major story beat to major story beat, like one after another. It's like, for example, Pascal in the village. You'll be talking to him, and then, there's this loud noise, and you go check it out, and it's a major boss event, and then you come back.
And you got to talk to each little person in the village, and then you got to... That stuff takes forever in the first playthrough, and then in the second playthrough, you go right through it.
It really is a merciful game to replay, especially. Well, one, there's more content, but even the parts that you're just playing again, they're quick to breeze through if you know what you're doing and you know where things are and what to do.
Someone in chat is cursing us for making him want to buy another game, and you will thank us once you play it. You will thank us. Once you spend $60 and 30 something hours on this game and complete it, you will be like, okay, thank you. Because holy shit, I love it. I love it. It's great.
It's easily worth the $60. Don't wait for a sale. Fuck you. Go eat shit. Go die.
Unless you cannot afford this game, or someone mentioned, well, Persona 5 is coming out. And it's like, okay, I understand, but it is, and I think it moves. You'll complete it faster than you think because it's just it moves and you get addicted to it and you want to finish it. And wow, God, it is fantastic. And I don't want to say any more until you really just complete it.
I will probably be finished by next week at the pace I'm going. What the side content, I really didn't do much of it the first time because the couple I stumbled across were kind of dumb. Like there was a race against a robot. I think the side
content is the weakest part of the game.
Yeah.
But compared to the rest, I mean, that's not saying.
But there are gems for sure, and those are well worth it. Like for example, and not spoiling too much, but there's a stupid robot with a top hat, and
he's not stupid. He's a philosopher.
He is very good at philosophy. So the genius philosopher robot. It's just kind of like a comedy character. Like he's a joke.
There's a lot of
essentially
comedy in that game.
Yeah, it's a very funny game. And this like essentially comic relief stupid side quest character winds up playing a major tragic role in a major main plot. It's I can't tell you what it is, but
that's one of the things that it does really well. That's I think very hard to get right. Is it is a genuinely funny game. Like almost like if you were trying to put this game in a movie genre, comedy would almost have to be in there somewhere because it's funny throughout and pretty consistently and clever with its funniness. It's not it's not poop jokes and shit. And then it so it gives you something funny and you start to like a character maybe because they're funny, and then it hits you in the feels, as they say, because it actually executes on the humor in a dramatic way that pays off, and God, I love it.
The machines in general are very, very funny because
Yeah.
they're so innocent and like the new. They see the world with very new, young eyes.
And they're trying to like emulate humans. And
They're copying them, but they don't really get what they're doing. But
yeah.
they think it's cool or what they should do, and there's the story and the plot and the story are so good. It's a great story.
It is, and you are on the verge of really going places with it.
I'm sure.
And
If
I
if
can't
the
wait.
first NieR is any indication, then I'm sure. And if the way that they've exceeded the first NieR in basically every way is any indication, then it'll get even crazier. So,
Yeah, and it is a self-contained story. I was a little bit afraid that it would draw too much from NieR. It does have there's even in some ways recurring characters, and plenty of references to events in NieR and concepts from NieR, but it is a self-contained story. You can totally not know anything about NieR and be fine. Like, it is totally self-contained.
Emil is just what a fucking joke of a character that's also so sad. Like, at this point, Emil...
Did you complete his side quest?
No.
Yeah, he has a little... I don't even know if you can unlock it at your point in the story.
Probably
but
not.
He has a little side quest that kind of, pays off for that character.
He must be around for tens of thousands of years at this point, if not more. Just
yeah.
He seems chipper. He's running around in his little go-kart selling crap.
You should do the side quest.
I should. I really want to see, like, of all the side content, stuff like that is the unmissable stuff. I'm definitely gonna do. I may not do every race against the stupid fucking robot side quest.
I think there's only 3 races, and the third one is extremely difficult.
It is,
and it has the same level of payoff as most of the side stuff, where it's like, oh, that's a funny little thing.
Teehee is the reward for many quests in the game.
The side quests are the weakest part. They are a sometimes tedious objective followed by a small payoff. But
they're completely optional.
I think the more you play of that game, the more you kind of get the urge to 100% it. And I'm not going to do that. And I have a reason for that I can't say because it'll spoil something that one of my favorite things about the game. And so we'll get to that at some point, but now is not the time.
Now,
all right.
if I could criticize one thing about the game, well, there are definitely problems.
Sure. Like,
there's
PC
so many,
especially.
Well, yeah, but that mod basically fixes all of them and whatever. They're not too bad.
The cutscenes are great for me for some reason. I don't know.
Are you using the mod or the borderless full screen thing?
I'm using the borderless gaming.
Somebody released a mod that is just like a one-click install, and then that's it. It fixes the game. It fixes the cutscenes, everything.
I should have done that because the cutscenes were low frame rate, and it kind of bothered me. But they weren't low frame rate enough to like really make an impact, like for me to actually go out of my way to fix it. But it was a little bit annoying.
So that's all fixed.
And for those that don't know, this game maxes out at 900p on the PC. No matter what you choose the resolution to, it's going to be 900 max, unless you run it in borderless. Full screen mode, borderless, windowed borderless full screen, whatever. But it doesn't have an option for that in the game, so you have to get a separate program to run it in. It's very silly, and of course, PC ports. There's always something like that, which just seems like such an easy thing.
It's
to get
hard
right,
for Japanese developers. They don't do it very often. It's not that big a priority, but they're getting better generally. The port, like, this is no Dark Souls 1 PC port.
But anyway, I interrupted you. What were you saying?
Yeah, so aside from like the technical issues, there's lots of invisible walls. That shouldn't bother me that much, but it really kind of does. There's lots of things that you think you should be able to jump over or move around freer than it'll let you. and that it's not fun when that happens.
And
But
at some
whatever.
points, at some points, it actually there's like secret areas and stuff to find, little secrets and stuff in the world, and it can be very difficult to find them because, like you said, there's invisible walls to block you from going in certain places, and
Yeah.
sometimes you have to find the path that doesn't make any more sense than the rest of the paths you're
Right.
trying.
Right.
And that's really, yeah, that's annoying. I would say the design of the world, along with the side quests, is one of the weakest things. I love the design of it. I love the way it looks.
Yes. It's like the game design of the world, the actually
Yeah,
moving around it. For example, in the city, the ruined city that a lot of the game takes place in, there are many collapsed buildings that have, wide open entrances and windows that you just can't go through. You can't go
yeah.
inside most of these buildings, even though you clearly physically could. And I don't know, that stuff is kind of annoying. Also, the level scaling. That's probably my biggest problem with the game. It doesn't ever feel like I'm getting stronger or that the enemies are getting stronger because they're very rigidly scaled. From what I can tell, there's like a certain fixed level range that certain enemy encounters will be from you. Like,
I'm not sure how it works, but
I'm
I
not
know what you
positive
mean.
how it works, but I noticed that one of the bosses was the same number of levels above me in my first playthrough as in my second. And in
Right.
general, the enemies will scale linearly with your level progression. And
There's one side quest that I tried where it was clearly over leveled for me. Um, escort the robot or whatever, and the robot wants to do a parade, and you escort him. And I started doing it, and I was like, "Holy shit! These robots are taking forever to kill, and you're kind of under a time constraint because you're escorting." And there's too many escorts, by the way. I hate escort quests in every single game that's ever done it, and there's quite a few in NieR, and God, I hate that. But anyway, um, I couldn't
so
do it in
maybe the
time. It
side
was just
content's
impossible.
different, but
It was just impossible. And maybe that's unique to the side content because I never felt that way. The main playthrough, I always felt like I was slightly more powerful than I deserved. like it was a little bit too easy, and maybe I should have bumped it up to hard, but like I didn't really want it to be hard, so I don't know. But
hard, I think I could have taken hard for the main game, but it was really
mhm.
frustrating me just starting and having to replay that opening bit with the shmup section in the factory
Yeah.
like twice. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't want to do this a third time. So,
Uh,
but after you get checkpoints and can save, like they have a whole kind of Dark Souls mechanic where if you die, your android body is still there. It's just your consciousness isn't in it, and then you can pick up
yeah.
the chips left behind, and that's pretty cool. But I never died. I just never died.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
not a big problem. But to the scaling, it introduces a kind of bigger problem where I then don't really have that much of a reason to do side content to level up, because if I level up, the enemies are going to just level up too. Upgrading my weapons, that is, kind of worth it because those are independent of your level, but still, it kind of feels like you and your enemies are ratcheting up at the same pace, and that's
The
never fun.
the implants where you choose. I love the system that they built too,
Oh yeah,
where you choose like the slot that it's going in.
they take up
Um,
physical space, and you have a stack of
yeah.
them. Yeah,
Uh, they I don't know how many you've unlocked or what you've unlocked, but they do things that change the way the game plays enough that I did feel like I was getting more powerful. Like a lot of it's just quality
yeah.
of life stuff, like being able to pick stuff up without actually
Mm-hmm.
pressing B.
Yep.
You need to get that implant as fast as possible, and you'll be like, "Holy shit, this is so nice." But then combat stuff too. Like there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of implants that I never used that I then went back on YouTube and watched some stuff where they were using it, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Like there's one that slows down time, and I thought that it slowed down time in general, and I was like, "I don't need more reaction time in this game. It's
Right.
easy enough." But what it does is it slows down times for the enemies around you, and you are moving in real time, so you can just destroy shit while it's slowed down for a couple seconds, and that seems really fun. And stuff like that, I think, is where the progression feels like it actually does have an effect. And maybe you're just not quite there where you're getting the full effect of it, because by the end of the game, I did feel more powerful. Not significantly, not in the way that a lot of these kinds of action games go, where it's like you just have like way more abilities and you can wreck shit, and the enemies are obviously more powerful. It is more of a an even scaling on that front. But you might need to unlock some more stuff to really feel it.
It's not disastrous in that way by any means, though. It meant by scaling in that way, it makes sure that all the main quest stuff, all the bosses, they always are challenging for where you are and exciting and don't go down too quickly.
I would have been annoyed if I had to farm at any point, or if I felt like I really needed to like delve into the upgrade systems and stuff. Like you don't feel like you need to do any of that, but you can at your leisure, and I think that's the right place for this game because your influence, the idea of progression is that it's addictive, and you want to get to the next level of progression. But the addictiveness of this game comes from the plot, and it would just be annoying if the progression stopped you from advancing the plot. Like it would be really annoying if it was like, well, this is a really hard section and I'm really going to need to do, a few side quests before I move on. If you felt like you needed to do that, I think it would be more annoying than anything. And instead, I ended up doing the large majority of the side quests on my own without feeling the need to. I just kind of wanted to. So I do think it kind of fits right. I don't know if more progression would actually be better for this particular game, but yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It definitely doesn't need grinding. It doesn't need anything to waste your time like forced on the experience. So, but I'm nitpicking with the progression stuff. Like that's one of the only major flaws that I can think of. It's definitely, it's not a flawless game, but the highs that it reaches it's one of the best. It's one of the best.
And it's so easy to ignore. Like the invisible walls, for instance, after a while, you kind of learn.
Yeah, you figure it out.
This is where the invisible walls are. Like I kind of get the logic to it. And of course, you learn the world well enough that you start breezing through sections and stuff like that. It's fine. And so, yeah, the flaws are just so overshadowed. And God, I love it. I cannot recommend this game more. It is so good, especially if you want a good, crazy Japanese sci-fi plot, because it is exactly that. It rules.
Yeah, that is the key pillar of this game is the story. The story, it's one of the best stories.
And you haven't gotten there yet.
I know. I'm so glad that I haven't. I'm excited. I'm really excited. I would like to do that. I would like to do a spoiler cast on this when I finish.
But I do, interestingly enough, have some other things to talk about.
Oh yeah.
I've picked up mostly a few other games. I've started playing recently. Some that there's not much to say about, like Siege. I started playing a little bit of Siege with some friends, and I was like, oh yeah, this game's still fun. Heavily flawed, but fun. I should have written down exactly what I wanted to talk about, because there's a few things. I picked up VR a little bit, played like some more Onward and stuff, but apparently they're about to update that game, and they desperately need to, because that game still has some problems. I'm just going through my list here real quick. Wait, hold on. Steam does this for you. It'll tell you what you recently played.
That way you don't gotta use the brain.
You don't gotta use the brain that you're bad at using.
I don't like the brain.
Oh yeah, okay. What I wanted to mention, and this isn't on Steam, but I just suddenly remembered it. I have gotten into Space Station 13.
Oh, that's that 2D like role playing on a ship thing, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Dark
RP in space.
Yeah, but Dark RP in space, like the systems
I know.
of Space Station 13 are so ridiculously deep. Like every little job in that game has so much depth to it, and the things that the variety of things you can do. It's one of those games where it's like, I wonder if I can do this, and yes is the answer 80% of the time. And of course, I'd say the hook of that game is the chaos that inevitably ensues every single round, just based on different characters having different motivations and their interactions with each other becoming exponentially more just complete madness.
It's one of those things that's always sounded cool to me, but the systems intimidate me from playing it.
It takes, I would say, several hours before you become proficient enough with the game to actually have any idea what's going on around you at any point. Because first of all, you have to watch the screen and
sounds
the text
like a
box
weekend thing.
Yeah. Most of the action happens through the text box, but you have to pay attention to what's happening on the screen as well, and that's very difficult for me. But I've kind of gotten the rhythm of it down, and like kind of I know what's going on for the most part. I just don't know necessarily all the different systems and stuff. But once you get that down, it's just so much fun to participate in the chaos of that game, and you don't have to like get super like. Another cool thing about it is that like it kind of naturally molds into whatever play style you want to do. Like if you're not into like role playing, you don't have to really role play. You just play the game. And some people might get really into the role playing, and that can make your game experience better even if you're not doing it too, because you're just watching it ensue. And that's the real fun of it, is like just being part of that experience. And let me tell you like the concept of it, because I don't think I didn't understand this when I started playing, but the concept of it is like there's rounds that probably last like an hour and a half each usually, and
it's pretty meaty rounds.
Yeah, they're meaty for sure, and it throws you in, and you get either randomly assigned. You can kind of choose preferences like job preferences, and it'll assign you a job, and you'll have your little sector of the space station where you do your job, or maybe your job is like a janitor and you have to go all through the space station and clean up floors or whatever. And there's no pressure to do your job well, really, because again, it's a round-based thing. So if you don't do your job well, it all gets reset in an hour and a half anyway. So who cares if the janitor isn't cleaning up the masses of blood that are spilling all over the hallway because people are fighting each other. So there's not that pressure, although you do get some amount of pressure because you're playing with other real people, and they're kind of I get like anxiety because like people might be expecting me to know how to do something that I don't know how to do, and I'm like, I'm new, I don't know what I'm doing. But that's part of the fun too. But a few people, and they're completely random, and you can opt out of this, and I'm opted out because I'm new, are traitors of some sort. Oh, they are antagonists. They are against the station's very existence, and the nature of their antagonism can be very different. It's sometimes, I'd say most of the time, I think, from what I can tell, it's just random traitors. They don't even know who each other are, but maybe they have code phrases and stuff that they can say. Like it'll say like, here's the code phrases and here's the code responses, and so it'll be like pizza and slippery are the code phrases, and so you try to use a sentence with slippery and pizza in it, and then someone will respond.
Does code phrases randomized so that?
Yeah, everything seems randomized, and
because it seems like eventually you'd start. If you see somebody saying pizza in the chat, you should.
You can't metagame it. Like it's way too but you don't necessarily need to find your other traitors, because you have a goal of your own, and it'll be like assassinate this person, and here's his job: find him and kill him, and escape on the shuttle alive. There's always a shuttle that leaves at the end of the round, the escape shuttle. And sometimes the antagonists can even be against each other, or there can be multiple groups. Like maybe there's traitors, but then at the same time there's cultists. And so the cultists are like knocking people out, dragging them to a room where they have formed a sigil on the floor, and they brainwash you into a cult, and then you have to do what they tell you to do. The text will just be like, you are now a follower of whatever, and then that's who you are now. And so you have to kind of just change your entire, and maybe like you'll go back to doing what you were doing, but now you're like secretly against everyone, and so you're like plotting.
You'll mop the floors angrily.
Well, you'll mop the floors, but you'll intentionally slip the captain while someone else is standing near, while your fellow cultist is standing nearby, so that he can, attack the captain after you slip him because you mopped the floors and they're all slippery. It's that kind of game. It's crazy. And let me just guide you through what happened to me last night. I was on voice chat with someone, um, and I'm sure it was impossible I was kind of explaining what was happening, but it was like probably impossible for them to keep up. But it was so much fun trying to explain what was going on. I play the game and I'm playing like normal for like 45 minutes probably. I'm just doing my job, and I've got a couple of coworkers and they're just doing their jobs and I'm doing my job, and not a whole lot is happening. You can kind of follow what's happening on the station because there's like a communal radio that people will make announcements on and stuff. But my job is for people, they come to request stuff and I get it delivered to the station, and then I deliver it to the people who requested it. And eventually the station does kind of descend into chaos, because what we discover is that there's cultists on board, and they've taken over like a major part of the station, and they've killed the captain and all of like the heads, like all the leaders of the station. And so suddenly we're in trouble, and we don't want them to come for us. So we like lock down our little area and we order some weapons, and we're like ready to defend ourselves with weapons. So there's 3 of us, and we're stuck in our little corner of the station, and we don't know what's going on in the rest of the station now because everything's fucked up. And we're talking about like, okay, what are we going to do to escape? What are we going to do? Like, if the shuttle gets called, how are we going to get to the shuttle alive? And this goes on for a while of us trying to figure out what to do. And at one point I'm like, okay, I'm going to leave. We need captain's level access so that we can get through areas that we need to get through without using the main hallways that are probably flooded with cultists and stuff like that. And so I try to break into the head of personnel's office, but then someone else, I think it was someone else who had the same idea, who was also innocent, who wasn't a cultist, but they would have the same idea, and they attacked me when I came into the office. And I was like, shit, they lit me on fire. I don't know what with, but they lit me on fire. And so I had to stop, drop, and roll. And then I ran out of the office, and they didn't chase me. So I figured they weren't trying to kill me. They were just scared that I might be a cultist. And I was scared that they might be a cultist. So they just set me on fire. And so that failed. And then I hear my coworker leaves and comes back and doesn't say why for just a couple minutes. And I'm like, that's fishy. Why did they do that? And then on the little text thing, it says that they whispered something, and you couldn't hear what they whispered, but there's no reason for them to be whispering. Why would they be whispering? And it's because they're either using a radio headset, or they're a cultist who can like communicate telepathically, but you have to say something out loud that's in this devil language, and so people around you will know. And so if you whisper, then they might not hear it. But I'm like, there's no reason for that person to be whispering, except for they're keeping something secret from us, and god damn it. And it's like, this is like right at the end of the round. It's probably been going on for more than an hour, and we're all like super tense, and we're about to have to run for the shuttle. And I killed her. I killed my coworker. I murdered her with a circular saw and chopped her head off.
Nice.
And I said, she's a cultist. She was whispering something. I didn't trust her. Sorry. And my coworker's kind of freaking out. He doesn't know what I'm up to, and he didn't seem to suspect her. And so then, and this is like, the shuttle has been called. The shuttle takes 10 minutes to get to the station and then 3 minutes to leave. So you have that 3-minute window to get on the shuttle. And but there's also 2 little shuttles that appear in the top left, but they only have room for 2 people each, and there's only 2 of them. And to get to the main shuttle, I'd have to go all the way across the station, across where the cultists have already set their base and everything, and they're probably gonna get on the shuttle and kill everyone. And so I was like, I can't use the main shuttle. I have to use the little escape shuttles and just hope that nobody kills me on the way there. And so I'm telling this to my little coworker, and I'm telling him, like, you can trust me. I suspected her of being a cultist or whatever, and he's not saying much. And I'm kind of like, all right, well, we'll see what happens. And then a robot comes in. A robot can be controlled by a human player, but you're governed by robot laws. You know, like the I think they're called like Asimov laws or something, where it's like you may not harm.
Yeah. Okay.
So they are controlled by those laws. They cannot break those laws, or they'll be banned from the server. Like, it is a very strict thing. But you can break into the AI server, which is also a human. A human is an AI who like controls all the robots and tells them what to do. You can break into there and change the laws.
Oh.
And overwrite them, and so that they can harm humans. And
That's
so
pretty cool.
But the cultists have taken over the station for a while, and I know that they're in the area that the AI is located in, and I'm like, I don't trust the robots either. You can usually trust the robots. They're there to help you. But the robot's like, hey, what happened here? You need to get off the station. I can guide you to the escape shuttle. You need to get off the station. And I was like, well, fuck that. And I ran. I just ran because I was afraid that the robot was going to kill me. And, oh, well, I didn't mention the reason that I started running is because a voice in my head started telling me to run. Someone infected me.
What?
Apparently, you can be like a little alien that will crawl in your ear and can talk to you and can even control you. And it started talking to me and telling me to run and not to trust the robot. And I was like, I guess I'll trust the voice in my head because I also don't trust the robot. So I think it probably has my best interest in mind. And it told me to run. And so I ran and I got in a little escape shuttle. And I locked the door behind me and just waited for it to leave. And I heard my little friend and his little robot, he followed the robot. And the robot led him to the little shuttles. But it led him to the shuttle next to mine. And then murdered him in it. And I'm hiding in my shuttle, just like, please don't open these doors because it will totally murder me. And I have nothing to defend myself with. And I would stand no chance. But it murders him in the shuttle next to me. And the little voice in my head's like, yeah, you stay quiet, don't do anything. And then apparently I couldn't see this, but my friend was a ghost, and ghosts can see everything that's happening. They're like spectators, basically. And he told me after the round was over, he was like, that alien, or that not alien, the robot went to my door and then didn't open it and ran away. And it was like a movie, like, you know, where like the bad guy always like comes over like to exactly where they're hiding. And it was exactly like that. And I escaped alive somehow.
That's great.
And
that's cool.
And that's just that's what that game does, is like it gives you these little stories, and there's so many possibilities, and the chaos of people having so much control over everything that happens means that something different always happens, and it's complete insanity. I'm kind of addicted to it.
That's cool.
And it can be anything between like a dozen people on a space station to like 100 people. So it's wild.
100 people. That concept with that many people sounds really fun, actually.
It is. It's crazy. I mean, the server I was on probably had well over between 50 and 100, I think, was how many was on the server I was on, and it was absolute madness. And then I've played other rounds where like I've been inducted into the cult, or there was a revolution once where I revolted and all the survivors on the station barricaded themselves into the armory of the station, and we were banging on the windows, breaking the windows to get in. And it was just like they stood no chance because they were just like this literal mob of people outside smashing the windows to get into where they were. That game's great. It's very hard that barrier of entry is extreme, but it's worth it. It's absolute madness.
Cool.
Yeah. And that's what I've been doing. I think that's all I've got.
Well, I've been playing more Zelda. Not all that much because of NieR, but I've kind of gotten into I could probably fight Ganon and finish the game right now. Yeah. But I'm actually having a shit ton of fun doing all the shrines. I'm just wandering around looking for shrines and doing them. And I normally hate that kind of grind. I don't mind it here. And that's partially because every shrine that you find is a new little gameplay challenge that's different from one another. But also, finding new shrines means you're going to places that you haven't been before, and geographically they're all distinct from one another, and it's just great to run around and explore. I don't know if you saw that Super Bunny Hop video about Breath of the Wild. Mm-mm. Did you see that? No. He delivers the whole thing rhyming for some reason. I thought it was fucking stupid. But the basic point that he makes in that video is that eventually destination fatigue sets in that game. Because really, when you're going around the world, what you're finding are shrines. Shrines are what you find when you explore.
Yeah.
That it's not That's not a problem to me. It really isn't, because shrines aren't like a power up. It's not like a piece of heart. It's not like you bomb the secret wall and you get a piece of heart.
But it does. I thought it does give you a piece of
It
heart.
does give you that at the end. But it's unlike the other games where it's, how do I get to that piece of heart? It's, okay, I need to find the shrine. How do I get to the shrine? And then once you do, it's a new gameplay experience. So I don't get that same fatigued feeling. I'm probably like at 70 some shrines, and I think I'll do them all. Like, I think I'll do every shrine in the game, maybe. I don't know. I'm just having a lot of fun, and I don't mind like just popping it on for a bit, doing 2 or 3 shrines and popping it off.
I thought I was gonna get it. I thought I was gonna get a Switch and Zelda. So the reason I missed the podcast last week, I was in the hospital. I was admitted to a hospital. I won't go into the nitty-gritty details, but those who have been following me a while know that I have butt problems, and the butt problems flared up, but they went away. So it wasn't a big deal, really. But I was in the hospital, and I was like, I need something to do, because I've been in the hospital before, and being admitted in a hospital is the worst thing ever, because the internet's not good enough to stream video, and I don't want to read. I don't want to read a book. I don't want to watch
fuck books
TV like a cretin. So I was like, this would be the perfect time to get a Switch and play some Zelda. And I felt fine, by the way. Like, I wasn't like sick. So like I had some energy, and I knew I was going to be there probably all day the next day. And I was like, I could get a Switch and play some Zelda in the hospital, because it's perfect for that. I can play it handheld, and I don't even need to like hook it up to a TV or anything. And I convinced my sister. I was like, I'll pay you back, and I'll owe you. You can, if you go get me a Switch and Zelda.
Yeah, there's
no way. She was like, you know what? And she was like, I'm willing to do it, because you're my brother, and you're in the hospital, and I'm a loving sister. And I was like, you're the best.
He's like, sure, bro.
And it was sold out. I mean, she checked Target, and then she said it was sold out there. And I started checking around the internet, and I was like, oh, it is sold out literally everywhere.
Yep.
I didn't realize. I had no idea that the Switch was in that much demand. Like, it is just impossible to find right now. It's gone.
I think for the amount of time it's been out, it's sold more than the Wii.
Yeah. It's insane.
It's a big deal. It is a hot item. They've done a pretty good job, I think, balancing the supply of it. It's sold out, and you can't find it, but a lot of people got them, and to some extent, you really can't produce a shit ton of consoles on launch, because there's always problems on launch, and if you make 10 million systems, then you're dealing with many more defective units on that first batch. Right, exactly. Yeah. So, you can't blast them all out at once, so there's going to be shortages, but I managed to get one, so that's all that matters.
I never would have predicted it to sell that well that quickly. It was like 2 weeks after it had been out. I figured, okay, maybe it's sold out in some stores, but they've had plenty of time to redistribute. No, it is just impossible to find right now. So I'm gonna have to wait on Zelda, especially since Persona 5. I'm getting that Tuesday.
Yeah, there's plenty of shit to play, definitely.
So so I'm not in a hurry, but I was so disappointed, because I would have been able to get in like a good,
that would have been perfect,
12 hours of gameplay right there. And instead I was sitting bored out of my fucking mind in the hospital, just miserable. Don't go to the hospital, folks. It sucks.
Yeah, just even if you got a problem, just stay out of that place.
Stay home.
Go to the
It turns out I really probably could have just stayed home. That's the worst part about it, is like I probably didn't really. I mean, it was like a just in case kind of scenario of like, if we need to get you to the ICU, it needs to be really quick. But yeah, it was like after the whole thing was said and done, it was like, oh well, actually it was nothing, and yeah, that's how it goes. But I can't wait to play Zelda. Yeah, I think it'll be.
The year is too.
It's like game of my dreams,
stacked. Man. Such a stacked.
I was really happy with like NieR Automata was kind of an impulse buy for me almost. Like I wasn't really sure I was going to get it. I was pretty sure, because I'd seen enough of it to be like, this seems really neat, and I want a game. But there were so many other games coming out around this time that I was like, I might just wait and get Persona 5 first and wait for Automata to go on sale. And I forgot what actually like convinced me to get it. I think I just watched like 30 minutes of gameplay and was like, okay, no, I get this. This looks great. But that was such a surprise to me. Like I expected to like it, but I didn't expect to love it like I do. And so that's I expect to love Persona 5, and the reviews are fantastic for it right now. And I expect to love Zelda. It's already shaping up to be a really, really good year.
Yeah, there's Zelda, Breath of the Wild, NieR Automata, Persona 5, Red Dead Redemption 2 probably, if we believe the release date.
Probably, yeah.
Oh, you know what? Splatoon 2. I played some. And emphasis on some there. The global test fire was this last weekend. And the way they do this is there are like worldwide start times for the test fire. So, like for example, 11 p.m. Eastern, it goes live everywhere in the world. And then everyone gets just an hour to play it. That's it. It starts, it ends at 12. And I was only like up and around for one of those sessions, and I got in like toward the end of it. I played a total of like 15 minutes of Splatoon 2, and then it kicked me out. And it was Splatoon.
Wow. Yeah.
That was...
I wouldn't be able to tell you the difference. As someone who hasn't played Splatoon,
It looks the
be able
same.
to tell you the difference between those two games.
It's like the same
I mean, it is
game.
the same. It's the same game.
Only difference is way more people will be playing it.
If they do that for Mario Maker, I will get the Switch. If Mario Maker is out on the Switch, I will get it.
I would be very surprised if they didn't bring that to the Switch.
Yeah, me too.
Especially
so
something that that's not really. Maybe they'll make a sequel that just kind of builds on it a little bit.
Yeah.
Kind of in like a Left 4 Dead 2.
I'm sure they would
sequel.
add something to it, but I'm sure it would also be the same basic idea. But that and Zelda are what I want from Nintendo right now. And
Mario Odyssey. That's coming out this year too.
It looks great. I don't know if I need it. You know, like.
Well,
I played Mario platformers.
I guess.
I don't know. I don't want to I don't want to be down on that game because I don't think it deserves to be down on. Like it looks great. It looks like a great one of those, but it is one of those. Whatever. It just I don't feel like I get anything out of that I haven't gotten out of Mario 64 and Sunshine.
Yeah.
Et cetera, et cetera. So.
Surprisingly, sorry, this is gonna kind of U-turn. So, go ahead.
No. I don't have anything else to say.
Okay, Binding of Isaac, Rebirth, Afterbirth, Plus, whatever the newest DLC collection of the Binding of Isaac Rebirth thing, that came out on Switch. And
whoa, okay.
Yeah. I've played that game. I've played a lot of that game, but I'm still playing a shit ton of it now on Switch just because it's portable now. I know it already came out on 3DS, but that version was like glitched to hell. Didn't have all the content, and it fucking sucks not having an analog stick or the tiny screen, the tiny controls. That blows. Nobody wants to play that game that way. At least I don't. It's so fun on the Switch. On the Switch, it's like this great little bite-sized. You just do a little run, and you see what happens, and then you put it down. It's a perfect fit for a handheld, and now you've got like a proper experience with it. So
the Tomorrow Corporation, they are a game company that has made 3 games: World of Goo, what is the fireplace game where you throw things into the fire?
Throw things into the fire.
That is literally the game. You throw things into the fire. Little Inferno, and the other one, the coding game.
Human
All 3 of
Resource
those are out on the
Machine,
Switch.
Yeah,
And
I saw
would
that on
recommend
there
all 3 of
because
those.
you played Human Resource Machine and you talked about it on the podcast.
Yeah.
And I saw that on the Switch store. I don't know. Maybe I'll get it.
If you haven't played World of Goo,
I played World of Goo millions of years ago, back in the Stone Age when it came out.
I love that game. It's a great game. It's a great
good.
game.
It's good, but I've played it like a million times on a million platforms.
But a Little Inferno's neat too. I would recommend Little Inferno too. They're all neat, fun little games. The coding one is kind of a whole other monster, but but yeah, Switch turning out to be a pretty neat console. It does have some of those issues, as Kroby Cat My favorite YouTuber, Kroby Cat, pointed out on his YouTube video about
Kroby
how
Cat and
terrible
PewDiePie
Switch
are your
launch
two
was.
favorite YouTubers.
Yeah. I don't have any problem with PewDiePie. PewDiePie can do his thing. Kroby Cat represents
The way you
something
fucking pronounce these
about humanity that
names.
I hate. Kroby Cat. It's PewDiePie and Kroby Cat, and Markiplier. My favorite YouTubers.
Yeah.
I hate Kroby Cat. I have a vendetta against Kroby Cat. I'm gonna kill him. I'm announcing it right here.
Please.
I'm gonna Jace Connors Kroby Cat.
Ooh, that's rough. I watched something that I think everybody else has already watched at this point, but it was so good that I have to talk about it. I watched Garth Marenghi's Dark Place for the first time.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, that is a treat. That's a treat. You've probably seen. I don't know how else to describe it.
I have no idea what it is.
But you've probably seen the picture of like the smiling guy close to the camera, kind of sweating. I don't know how else to describe it than that. But it's used as like a reaction image a lot. I can't. There's no other way for me to communicate what that looks like. But you've probably seen this picture before.
I want you to reenact it using your webcam.
It's from. It's not possible. The show itself is so funny. It's got a couple of the people from that show I don't like, the IT Crowd. You've probably seen that on Netflix.
I mean, I know of it.
Yeah. It's kind of like a Reddit-y nerd humor, and so I was not a fan of that show, and I was surprised that the show Garth Marenghi's Dark Place by the same people was just so fucking funny the entire way through. It's just 6 episodes. It was a one and done run, a single season. It's like this egotistical, like this horror writer who thinks he's God's gift to the world, and he's like, I think I'm the only writer who's written more books than he's read. He's so up his own ass, just spewing pretentious shit, and he is presenting like a kind of anthology retrospective of a medical drama that he produced back in the 80s. And then he's like
good.
Sharing it with the world, but it's like a Twilight Zone, Grey's Anatomy mixture. And
that sounds
there
really
is
good.
no subtext at all, and the acting is so intentionally stilted, and the cuts are so awful.
Oh,
and
fuck!
stupid.
I've seen
You
clips
must,
of this.
yeah.
I've seen clips of it. It is hilarious. Yeah,
It's
I've definitely-
amazing, and it
I've
doesn't
definitely-
overstay its welcome. It's just 6 episodes.
When you started mentioning the like intentionally bad production, I was like,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah,
It's like a
great
good
show.
like, especially if you're someone who like enjoys if you're someone who like follows the film industry and kind of like enjoys the production side of things and examining that stuff, like it is a bunch of, I guess, like inside jokes almost of like, I'm not saying like they're obscure references to things, but like booms in shot and that kind of thing.
It's like
Black
a very.
Dynamite is like that. If you've seen Black Dynamite,
I haven't.
oh fuck,
But
you would love Black Dynamite. Black Dynamite's great.
It
is exactly that concept of like, this is a blaxploitation film from the 70s that is really, really badly made, and but it was made in like 2005 or something like that, and it's really good.
Yeah, it's a very calculatingly bad production.
Mm-hmm.
Like where
I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah. It's very good. It's very good, and the first episode will immediately hook you.
All right.
Great show. So I just had to mention that. Anything else? That's about all I did. I've just been playing NieR, Zelda, and
yeah, I can't really think of anything. Not worth mentioning.
I think there's one more thing worth mentioning.
Mass Effect Andromeda.
Well, that's
not to
not
mention that in our list of fantastic games coming out this year. No, I don't have anything. Everything that's been said about Mass Effect Andromeda has been said. That is a disaster of a game.
I was gonna say that it's a certain podcast host's birthday today.
Oh.
And I think that we can all take a moment of silence maybe, to wish our birthday boy Good luck.
Are you gonna sing it? Are you
Long
gonna sing the
life.
whole song?
Excuse me, I'm talking right now. Long life, prosperous children, big healthy family, many heads. Happy birthday, Skippy. Happy 60th. Good night.